But yeah, anyway, the Prophet, peace be upon him, explicitly explained that when you quote-unquote beat your wife for being disobedient, it's done in a way that does not cause injury and does not leave a mark. This is a hadith from Sunan ibn Majah, which explains that when the Quran says that you can quote-unquote beat your wife for disobedience, it's done in a way that does not cause injury and does not leave a mark. We interpret the Quran the way the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, interpreted it.
Who took about 180 million of African people as slaves, and 88% of them died and were thrown overboard into Atlantic Ocean. Not Muslims.
Who were the people who started slavery in the 7th century, who, according to historians, enslaved more Africans than the Europeans did during the transatlantic slave trade? The OG Muslims, Arabs. Who were the people whose success during their slave trade inspired the transatlantic slave trade? The OG Muslims, Arabs. Who were the people who, during their slave trade, were castrating African men and raping their women? The OG Muslims, Arabs. Who are the people who have been practicing slavery the longest? It's been going for centuries now. Until this day, May the 5th, 2023, still haven't abolished slavery. The OG Muslims, Arabs. Who are the people who have products with racist names inspired by their history of slavery? The OG Muslims, Arabs.
I can't say on TikTok. It's gonna trigger people.
Oh, he won't tell you. Don't worry, I'll tell you. It's called Ras El Abid, which translates to head of a slave. It's crazy how this video was made by an African man in an attempt to defend the title and identity Muslim. But this is what we get when history isn't properly taught. We have a group of people from our community who are willing to go the extra mile to defend, fight for, and die for an identity that they have no business fighting for, an identity that brought their ancestors so much pain, suffering, and trauma. Because now it is their new identity. The same identity who only came to you because the OG of said identity did this. And this slave trade is also called the Arab Islamic slave trade. The religion is tightly interwoven into the title because it played a major role.
I have the answer to a question you didn't ask, and the question is, where are all the Africans in the Middle East? I'm talking about the descendants of Africans who were removed from the African continent to be enslaved in the Middle East. In different parts of the world, we can see the descendants in regions like North America, South America, the Caribbean, French or English speaking, and more. According to the Senegalese historian Tidiane Ndiaye, the Arab slave trade took way more people out of Africa compared to the transatlantic slave trade for a period of 13 centuries. His book is called Le Génocide Voilé, translation, The Veiled Genocide. According to the historian, one of the reasons why there is not much research about the subject is because African elites who subscribe to the same belief system would rather keep it that way. Now you see, this is why it's important to know your history, because if you knew this, you would understand why African domestic workers in the Middle East are treated the way they are, and why Africans in some parts of this continent are treated because...
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's okay to stereotype Muslims as terrorists. I'm saying if you want to talk about the atrocities of the past, you must talk about all of them. Don't exclude any group because now you share the same identity with them. African Muslims, you may not like to talk about this history because of your bias, but know that people like us won't sweep it under the rug like you do. Look at me. Take a very good look. This person you are seeing right now, does she look like someone who would want to be a Muslim? Look again, and tell me. This person you are seeing, does she look like someone who would want to be a Muslim by choice? Look at me for the third time. This person you are seeing right now, does she look like someone who used to leave frying pan and enter fire? Look at me for the fourth time. Just look again for the fifth time. I was once a Christian and I left. Now, why would you think I would leave that and... Not only am I an African who is self-aware, I am an African who is 100% in love with herself and her African roots. If I refuse to worship a god from Europe, why do you think I want to worship a god from the Arab world? These religions that constantly wants to take me away from who I authentically are as an African child, I don't know why people keep recommending them to me, especially you Africans. Why? Religion that if I enter now as an African and I want to get married, I have to marry according to Islamic law. I'm not going to feel dressed like this again as an African child, as a proud Asian girl. I won't be able to dress like this. Why? Because this is probably immoral, indecent. I have to be stripped off of my African identity as much as possible to be able to fully be incorporated into this religion. Why are you recommending such a thing for me? I probably even have to go get a new name like Rashida or something. Rashida is an Arabic name, maybe Islamic name, I don't know. Ivie will not be good enough again. If I born now inside this religion, then my children will not have to start doing Islamic rites. What happened to my Esan traditional rites? It's not good enough, it's demonic. Then they will not start bearing names like Muhammad. Me. Then when I finally kick bucket, when I beme, it's according to Islamic law that they will bury me as an African child. Because my traditional Esan way of burying people is not good enough. No, it's according to the laws of Islam. See, I'm an African child. Make one another recommend things when not consign me, give me. And most importantly, not they recommend me religions that have actively participated in the destruction of my people. And I've said it many times on here, even from my previous accounts. I have made videos talking about the Arab Islamic slave trade. So look me well before you recommend things. Give me, not they recommend me religion where they don't use, they actively enslave my people. Okay? If the God is not from the continent, I'm not interested. When they look who they talk to, read the room, glance through my page if you haven't. See, normal, I'm stubborn. Normal, I'm opinionated. Normal, I dey like critical thinking. And anything where they come in between me and critical thinking, I know. So, no.
But yeah, anyway, the Prophet, peace be upon him, explicitly explained that when you quote-unquote beat your wife for being disobedient, it's done in a way that does not cause injury and does not leave a mark. This is a hadith from Sunan Ibn Majah, which explains that when the Quran says that you can quote-unquote beat your wife for disobedience, it's done in a way that does not cause injury and does not leave a mark. We interpret the Quran the way the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, interpreted it.
Yeah, he's a Muslim. And that's him justifying all of that. If I see another African in my comments recommending Islam to me, like I said before, do I look like somebody who... Like I said, I'm not a leaf frying pan enter fire. The fact that in them Abrahamic religions, there are instructions in there on how men can effectively go about hitting their wives and subjugating them is all the sign I need, especially as a woman, to know that I should be as far away from them religions as possible. It's very interesting and convenient how in them religions, there are no instructions on how women can do the same to the men. Like, I am not saying that women should be able to hit men or subjugate them. That's not what I'm saying. Because we all, male and female, should be bloody keeping our hands to ourselves. But is nobody peeping how just one-sided this is? And is it not giving you orchestrated by men? Is that not what it's giving you? Again, everybody keep your hands to yourselves. Nobody should be putting hands on nobody. But I'm just saying, let us peep game here on just how one-sided it is. Because it tells us everything we need to know. I'm at a point where when people recommend them religions to me, I'm like, you know what? Stop beating around the bush. Just come and tell me directly to my face that you hate me. Yeah. Because why? Why else would you be recommending something like this to me? Why are you trying to make me buy into beliefs that will put me in a subjugated position? Why are you trying to sell to me a belief that would one day land me in a place where my husband would knock me back for inside house? And he would have the right to do so because the belief says it's okay for him to do so. Let's be so for real on this continent. I have said this before, but I'll say it again. I'm not the leaf frying pan enter fire. I am an African child and I am not interested in a religion that's from Europe. Neither am I interested in a religion that's from the Arab world. Not only am I not interested in their religion because of their history and what they both did to us as a people, I am not interested in their religion because Africans have their own spiritual practices. Why do I have to leave mine and go practice other people's own? The Arabs are practicing their own religion. The Europeans are practicing their own religion. The Asians are practicing their own religions. The rich Africans don't. Waka, waka, waka. Una not see on our own practice. You are not contented with what you have. You don't appreciate what you have. The grass is always greener at the other side. Abi, you leave your own grass. You look your neighbor grass. You don't know say your neighbor grass na plastic grass. But no problem. If you want go. I wish you all the best when you get there. But my own is what's with the unending recruitment. Me, I don't like plastic grass. Personally do not like the unending recruitment. It's weird. They always want to bring it to their side, be gathering people. It's giving cultism.